Hello, everybody, and welcome to the webinar. You can improv your life. I am Julie Cotton, and I today am going to show you how to gain the awareness, personal power, and confidence of a professional improv actor without having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars or dozens of years of your life on training. Are you ready to get started? Great. Now, I am guessing for some of you, this is your very first webinar. Maybe for others, you have done webinars lots and lots and lots. So either way, whatever your experience, you're a first timer or you see webinars multiple times a week, I want to start here. We have all failed in our lives at something or we wouldn't be here. And I want to talk a bit about failure before we get started. Failure in improv is embraced, it's welcomed, and it is celebrated. So we say in improv to fail fast, fail hard, and fail often. And this is specifically in regards to feeling like a failure with public speaking or performing of any kind, whether you're performing in groups or in front of loved ones. There can be a lot of pressure. All right. So first off, I just want to it's not your fault that there is all of this pressure. We have had that put on us by society. There's this need to really look good in front of other people, to be funny, to be entertaining, and it can be overwhelming. So many times it's that fear of judgment of others, of looking like a fool, that keeps us from taking big, bold risks and ultimately becoming successful. And it's okay. One of my favorite things, as I mentioned, is that improv embraces failure. We say there's no such thing as failure. There's only variations. Literally, whatever happens on stage is supposed to happen because it does in front of a live audience. And it's our job as improvisers to accept whatever happens and roll with it. And how can we work with this? So literally, you cannot get this wrong. Secondly, I do want to mention that fear is a big deal, especially when it comes to public speaking. It is like the number one fear that a lot of humans have. And it's so common, like you are not alone in this. If you've ever been concerned that you can't get better, like maybe you think, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this ever. I might as well just not even try. Maybe there's no way I can become more confident. Confidence is not like a muscle you can flex, at whether that's speaking in public or asking someone out on a date. Maybe you don't even put yourself out there anymore in the world. I want to put those fears to rest too. You can absolutely do this. You just need the right encouragement. You need the right environment. You need the right coach working with you. And there are those people out there that are looking for us to fail, right? They're even putting it in our head. Oh, don't put yourself out there. These can be our family, our friends, the coworkers, right? And could even be your own voice inside your head, right? Your own judge in there. Does anyone feel me? I definitely have one. But they've told you, you're not good at this. You're not good. You couldn't possibly do this. You don't have the talent. You don't have the skill. You're not funny. You're not clever. There's no way you could be a successful speaker or presenter or educator or entertainer of any kind. So why risk it? Who knows what I'm saying here? Yes? Well, I am here to tell you that they and you, if it's you, are wrong. Okay? They likely have their own reasons for saying those kinds of things. Have you ever considered maybe others don't really want you to break out and succeed? It's comfortable in that little comfort zone over there. Maybe there's something about you staying exactly the way that you are, exactly where you are, having the habits that you have and the life that you have that includes them, and they don't see why or how your being successful is going to benefit them. I think of the crab in the pot analogy. Whenever you put crabs in a pot to boil them, I don't, but when cooks do or chefs do, they start cranking up the heat a little bit at a time. Well, one of those crabs might start feeling the heat and it's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start moving my way to the edge of this. The other crabs will literally go to that crab and grab them and draw them back into the pot that eventually boils. And that's kind of how it is with our friends, our families, our loved ones, the people that we've created a life with that's a certain way. And as you start to take risks and push out of your comfort zone, it can feel threatening to those people that are nearest to us. It somehow challenges their status quo, as if the choices that they've made in their lives that might seem a little, blah or bland or mediocre or predictable or routine, right? That somehow that means that they're not good enough either. And the difference here in this community that I'm introducing you to tonight is with conscious improv and improvisers, we actually care about your success. We truly want you to see you living the life of your dreams. What do you want? And doing it joyfully. So that's what we're here for. I know you have a dream to change your world in some way, to make an impact through play, and I'm going to show you how you can make that happen during this webinar. So my goal for this presentation is to help 3 different kinds of people. First, for those who are beginners, brand new to improv. Maybe you've seen improv on TV, or you've gone and seen a live improv show in your local town. You have a great time, you laugh a lot, you enjoy it, but you've been too afraid to go for it, to take a class, or even to get on a stage anywhere. And maybe you're a step or 2 beyond that beginner phase where you've dabbled a little bit. Maybe you took a class in high school, or you had a one-off drop-in class or something that you tried, but you wouldn't really consider yourself a pro. So you just want more. You like it, you have fun, and you are going to have an opportunity tonight. If you're a beginner or a dabbler, you're going to have a chance to walk away with my tips and tricks about the world of improv that you can implement right away. Second is those people who are already performers. So let's say you know more about improv. You've taken maybe a whole level class and you've done a live show with a troupe of actors. Or so you could have been performing improv for weeks or months or years, but you haven't taken that leap to jumping in and making a bigger impact with improv, passing it along, sharing that gift of joy and play with the people in your life, your community, your students, your audiences, people that are right there in your world that would love to play too and find the inner joy that you found through performing. So you are going to have a chance to take action on what next steps might look like for launching yourself as an educator sharing improv with new students and audiences of your choice. And the third kind of person that this presentation is for are people who are already speakers, presenters, educators, teachers, trainers of some kind. You're already working with a captive audience, whether it's your 5th grade students or you have an arena full of people that you're teaching the next tech thing to. You have an audience in some capacity, but you're a student of life. You're always curious to up your game. You want to hone your craft. You want to offer new, fun, exciting ways to engage your students and audiences. You are going to walk away with some exciting tips and tricks for educators to spice up your current offerings and delight and excite your audiences in a whole new way. So, which one are you? I would say about 60% of the people that come into my world are dabblers. They're beginners. They've never done improv before. Maybe they've heard of it, but never done it. And usually around 30 to 35% of the people that I interact with are actors or performers or musicians that do improv or performing of some kind, singers, right? They love doing it, and they want to share it with others. Then the 5 to 10 percenters that are left, I would say, are in those speaker, trainer, educator, teacher role, in some capacity wanting to up their game. And where are you in that mix? My goal for you from this web class is for you to exponentially grow your personal power, your confidence, and to open you up to transformations that are available through awareness and play. And for me, the best and fastest way to do this is through what I call conscious improv. So here's a little bit about me. That's my little 5-year-old self. I have known that I wanted to be an actor since I was that old, 5 years old. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be the center of attention. I love to be able to make people laugh. I wanted to make people happy, to make them feel good about themselves. And ultimately, I think all of that really stemmed from really wanting to make my mom feel better. My mom suffered with bipolar disorder. She had a lot of physical ailments and emotional complications. She was depressed a lot. Her mood shifted constantly. She was always in pain. And, and I wanted to be able to relieve all of that. And despite all of the things she had going on with her, she always managed to keep me in mind. And what I mean by that, when she was a kid, her mom, my grandma, wanted her to be a doctor, right? Like, so she had to go to the best schools and she had to do this thing so that she could earn money and do this job that her mother had decided for her. Well, my mom didn't do that to me. My mom was very loving, and she was supportive of my dreams no matter what. So here I was, my little 5-year-old self, and mom was like, go for it. You do what you want to do, sweetheart. And so I did. I was able to study acting all through school. I performed in like all of the school plays I could get into, from elementary school through my bachelor's degree in theater education, all the way to an MFA, a Master of Fine Arts in Acting from Rutgers University. So I've performed in literally hundreds of theatrical shows, musicals, all the way to film and television. This picture you see here is me with egg on my head in a Nickelodeon show that I was in, and commercials, TV, all that kind of stuff. Yay, mom, I did it, thanks. Now, the challenge was all of this I was doing was really to help that little kid back home, right? My home life was not ideal, and I don't know, for many of us, like, who had the perfect home life. I don't, how many of us do, right? My parents, they argued a bunch. Like, my mom had her stuff because she was, dealing with bipolar and depression. And my dad was working all the time, and he had some anger stuff. He was getting really frustrated. He had a short fuse. And my brother was diagnosed with ADD, so he was super hyperactive. So my parents were like managing his energy as well. And I used the theater and performing as a way to escape my life. I was using it as a way to avoid facing all these feelings and these things I didn't quite understand. I was happy to paint on the face of another character. Please let me be anybody but this, so I didn't have to experience this confusion and this pain of not understanding what was going on in my family dynamics. I needed this. I strove to be perfect so that people would pay attention to me. As this overachiever, I got straight A's in school. I wanted others to think highly of me, so that I could win their approval, since it was approval I wasn't really getting at home, attention I wasn't getting at home. So it's like, pay attention to me. Regardless of this, I did manage to become mesmerized by this company. I was 9 years old, and this children's theater touring company came into my gymnasium and performed this amazing play. They completely transported us. They had a set and costumes and music, and they were just so lively. And I just was like, this is amazing. Oh my goodness, I want to do that when I grow up. And I did. Luckily, 12 years later, I worked for that company, and I toured all over the Southwest for 5 seasons. And it was really on that tour, working with those actors, that I really learned about improv. Now, I had dabbled at that point, right? I'd taken some classes in high school, and I had, I'd taken a weekend workshop or something with a local group called the Oxymorons back in Phoenix, where I'm from. But I hadn't really worked with improv and found all of the fun things that were available until I worked with this group of actors. And this came about because we were doing 15 shows a week. So I'm on the road, we'll be in like Tucson one day, and then we're in, Scottsdale another day, or and we're doing 2 shows in the morning. They've got their lunchtime, and we're back in the afternoon. We do that 5 days a week. So literally 15 shows. And I would have thought, oh, yay, what a great life, right? But no, when you do 15 shows a week, I'll speak for myself here, did 15 shows a week, I was like phoning it in after a while. It was just like, oh my gosh, how many more this week? And that does not work with kids. Let me tell you, they are the most honest audience, and you will lose them if you're phoning it in. So that's where I learned about improv, and how do I how do I actually listen to the people on the stage in this moment right now? How do I care about what they're doing, what they're saying, and really internalize it and take it in? And that transformed the way that I performed. The kids would squeal. We would play all these little games inside of the script. We would find fun ways to make it new and fresh for ourselves, but then that made it really come to life for the audiences as well. It just transformed the way that I was doing my theater from then going forward. I learned really, really so much from that group. I'm eternally grateful to them. And it was also like, well, that was fun and easy. So if it's so easy to do this, then what else is out there, right? Like this can't possibly, I was 20 by the time this had happened. So I'm like, this can't be all there is. There must be more, right? So I was offered an opportunity even at some point to go back and work with that company after I finished my graduate degree, or right before I graduated. And as much as I was humbled and delighted, I was like, you know what? I don't feel like I can say yes to this right now. I feel like there's a bigger calling, something else that I'm supposed to be doing with my life. So it was a delight to perform with them. And despite performing for many local and national stages, winning awards for Best Supporting and Best Actress, I was the life of the party wherever I was going. I was the lead in a lot of plays. I was the head of my church drama ministry. I was on leadership teams in my school organizations and community organizations. I put myself through undergraduate degree and my graduate degree. I was like super, super overachiever. I fell into this pattern of constantly needing to do more, to be more, so that I could get others' approval, so that I could earn their love. It's like, okay, well, will you just pour some love into my cup here? And then I feel like I matter because I did these things. I jumped through these hoops for you, and now you can love me. I proved that I was worth caring about. I don't know if any of you have felt the same way in your life ever, but it left me feeling frazzled and raw. I was like super reactive. I took things so personally. Oh my goodness. Every judgment felt like a dagger of rejection, which, hello, I'm an actor. I'm going on auditions all the time and I'm not getting necessarily every role I audition for. So, outside it looks to the world like I had this really great life, right? Oh, look at you. You're always so great. You're so happy and fun. But really behind the scenes, at the end of the day, I take all those costumes off and take my makeup off, and I'm ultimately feeling isolated and alone. So I knew I had to take action. I wanted to be able to take this discomfort, this pain that I was feeling away. I knew that there had to be another way, right? This kind of superficial way of being didn't really work for me. This is what led me into the healing arts. Self-help, personal development, and then eventually I found myself in a transformational leadership training experience that allowed me the opportunity to finally see and feel things that I hadn't let myself feel from that little girl, and then ultimately break through them so that I could stop pretending that I didn't know, pretending that things weren't there, pretending like everything was all right when it wasn't. I could finally look at the disempowering stories that I had been telling myself, and I've had all these characters and these masks and these facades that I would wear that I put on to help me, at the time, navigate through life. I was young when I decided I needed them or you learned how to use them. I didn't know any better. I didn't understand what I was doing at the time, but they were ultimately keeping me stuck now as an adult, playing this version of me that I wasn't proud of and I no longer wanted to maintain. So it was this point that I was finally able to bring some of the concepts that I've been reading about in these books or learning about in the healing arts and actualize them, like put them into my body to actually experience them and learn from them. You might have heard there's this quote out there, something to the effect of knowledge isn't power unless it's applied. It's like riding a bike. You can either get on the bike and ride, or you just read about riding it or watch other people ride it. But once you're on the bike, it is an experience that is anchored and hardwired on a cellular level that you will never forget. So now what I do is I've been able to take the healing and the transformational arts and combine them with the performing arts, because you can't fake dance, right? Or fake sing or fake act, right? Especially with improv, it is live, real time. the audience is right there, right? You're going to go for it. And so I've been able to mesh these two worlds and apply them in all kinds of settings, like with special needs. I worked as a music teacher with students that were all over the spectrum, but then also like higher functioning kids. And how do we use that as part of the way that they can activate their creative brains and become more focused in schools? I worked for a long while using improv and martial arts. I'm also a martial artist, in recovery facilities with mental health patients and also their addiction recovery patients, literally giving them new practices, right? Let's work out your body. Let's move this body. Let's take your imagination to the gym and replace those old habits with these new activities that can help raise the endorphin levels in their brain and stuff. So these and many other ways. I had opportunities a bunch to give improv into environments like schools. I would work with the bullying and things like that, using role playing and things. So there were so many opportunities for me to actually use improv in a way that impacted people's lives. And using this conscious improv is a synergy and an integrating of my most pivotal aspects throughout my awakening journey so far. I'm still on my path, but literally integrating mind, body, spirit practices and bringing concepts to life through play. And it wasn't enough for me, all those years prior when I got to perform and be in the limelight and superficially entertain. It was great. But now that I'd had this taste of a deeper, how impactful the work of storytelling can be, identifying the stories that we tell ourselves, right? And transforming those, I can literally change my mood. I can change the choices that I make. My personal power got elevated and the confidence that I feel. I mean, I was hooked and I wanted to be able to share that with other people. So I feel like now I finally have the freedom to truly connect with myself. And so now I can connect with others more authentically and open-heartedly because I don't need anything from them. I don't need their approval. So I'm not afraid of being rejected or hurt. So I'll put myself out there over and over and over again because I'm doing what I love. They don't have the power to hurt me. And so with that, I've taken back my power. I've increased my vitality, my aliveness, because I choose to. So I no longer make other people responsible for how I feel or how I experience life. I'm literally the author of my own experience, which is what we do in improv, right? I mean, there's no script. We're literally writing it right in front of an audience. We're creating the world moment to moment with our scene partner right there. It's a play that's never existed before and will not exist after that moment in time. So I've shared a lot with you. You might be thinking, okay, Julie, it's a little like drinking out of a fire hydrant here. Calm down. And you might also be thinking, that's great, Julie, but I don't really want to be a full-time improviser. I don't need to be an actor, touring, stage, all that stuff. So yeah, maybe that's not the life that you're looking for. But maybe you do have your equivalent of your 15 shows a week, right? Like, what is the thing that you're doing over and over and over again that you're kind of phoning in, where you're not really 100% present in your life, to the relationships that you're in, to your own body talking to you if it's in pain or your energy level's low? How are you avoiding you and your most vital self? Traditionally, we might try to shift that if we notice we have enough awareness to notice, oh, I'm kind of tired lately, or, oh, I know I haven't been on, I don't go out anymore, or that, man, my job is really lame, or whatever it is, right? We might try to distract ourselves with TV, or we might, check out happy hour every night after work, or we might get bold and try something new like a diet or an exercise program, maybe a gym membership. They all go up at the first of the year because everybody's committed to changing their life at the beginning of a new year. But then usually by February or so, all that stuff's kind of fallen away because it's ultimately trying to change at that superficial level. Like when I was using acting as a way to just avoid, it was just a distraction for me, right? So the challenge is trying to fix at that superficial layer, and missing out on that deep soul connection, right? We have these short-term quick fixes. We're looking for a magic pill, just make it go away. And we think the problem might be this thing outside of us, right? Like, oh, well, my job, or, oh, well, my relationships, or, oh, well, my kids, or, oh, well, my body, or whatever. But some of these old patterns, they're so hardwired in us, right? Like my little 5-year-old who had decided that the world was a certain way and she didn't deserve love or approval. And so, we throw this kind of hodgepodge, if quick fixes like a band-aid on a dam to solve a much deeper problem, when many of us have this emotional disconnect from ourselves, right? We're not taking care of ourselves. We're judging ourselves. Our own inner critic is like going to town inside of our minds. So what conscious improv can do, there's no like quick fix for anything. This is a process, right? It's a practice, like brushing your teeth. You're not just going to do it once, right? You're going to consciously choose to come from this like a way of looking at the world. And it can help develop those awareness practices where you're experiencing life through the joy and the laughter that's available, where your mood literally elevates as a result of playing some of these games. It interrupts this pattern. It's like it's getting on the bike, right? You have this experience. I rode the bike, I did the thing, and you have this success experience that actually releases endorphins in your brain and has you rewire, and you can't unknow it. You can't undo it. It's forever yours. You own it. And this sense of success in your body, and it elevates you like viscerally. It changes your physiology so that you have this anchor of confidence. And I did that. And there's science around this. That's not what this webinar is about, but I'd be happy to share that with you at some point. Yes. So here's an example. Let me give you a different way of looking at this. This is Lisa. She's one of my private coaching clients. She's an educator, and she brought me in to work with her privately, and then also her graduate level mathematician students. They were grad students that were teaching undergrads. So they had like this teacher assistantship that was part of the program. And these are kids that had never learned to be teachers. So any of my teachers on this webinar today is like, there's a lot that goes into teaching, right? Like curriculum design and lesson planning and learning styles and psychology and all, neurolinguistic programming and object lessons and modeling and all these things. And these kids, they not only had they never spoken in public before, many of them were international students, so they're speaking in public in a different language, and they have no idea how to design, a curriculum. They're like, here's a math book, go teach. Maybe some of you can relate. I don't think this is the only school that does this. I think it's kind of rampant. But anyway, so they brought me in to not only help them with curriculum design, but also to use improv and acting to give them the confidence to stand up there in front of a bunch of strangers and lead in faith that they could succeed. And so what we did is we did a series of role model. Like I would model, and then they would come back and do an example of what I had done. So we did some role playing, and we laid out how to present a lesson, what is kind of the why behind learning, and how to engage all the different learning styles and stuff like that. But ultimately, the biggest takeaway, and this was something that Lisa and I had discovered in her private session too, was this, and this is a gift for you. This is one of your takeaways for tonight. So perk up in case you've been tuning out, is this idea of literally stepping in and suiting up into this character of confidence, right? And for Lisa, she ended up calling it the mathematical character, right? Or the mathematical professor. And she is a woman in a male-dominated world. I mean, I'm a woman too. Like, anybody relate to that? Being a little out of sorts, not just men and women, but it's like anything where you're kind of the outsider. How do you fit in? And so she was insecure about getting up there and really being a powerful, brilliant woman, mathematician. And so she would literally suit up and zip up this costume, and she would leave whatever insecurities outside of the classroom. And as she stepped onto the stage of the classroom, she would own the confidence of this character. It has lived with her to this day. She's such a huge advocate. She's like, it has transformed me. I will never go back. I can never unknow that sense of confidence. This professor just has it all handled. The professor can calmly respond to whatever's happening in the classroom. It's not as reactive as Lisa was maybe when I first met her. Since then she's used it in many other arenas. It's not just when she's teaching, but she was so hooked by this and loved the impact it had on her life that she, shared this with other universities, and I was able to work with a lot of people, especially in the math department. That's where she had connections. But it was really a profound shift for her. After a very, very brief time. Again, as I mentioned, we only worked together a couple of times. So this is what we do in conscious improv. I can play anyone that I want to, and I can live congruent with the person that I say that I am. So I'm a martial artist, like I mentioned. So this idea of bowing into the dojo when you come in, it's like you're agreeing. We had dojo rules, like you leave your day outside. You don't bring your bad attitude in, you don't bring your complaining in. All that stuff stays right outside. And we bow into this white belt version of ourselves that is an amazing learner, that is eternally curious, that is open and willing to try new things and discipline themselves like a practice, right? So that same idea is what she was doing when she was suiting up into this confident character. So you're welcome to take the confident character with you. May it serve you in many of your classrooms of your lifetime. I was super grateful that Lisa was able to have that shift. So now I'll get in. I mean, that was kind of a bit of the training, but I want to give you 3 secrets tonight before we are complete. And those secrets are, improv is not hard. You are already great at making things up. The second secret we'll go into tonight is that you are enough. And the third is that I have got your back and you've got mine. So let's jump in with secret number 1. Well, when I was in 4th grade, I had a crush on this boy. He was in my special needs class. I was in this GATE program, and he sat behind me, him and this other kid, and I would look over my shoulder at them, and the 2 of them would be whispering and looking at me, and sometimes they would be pointing or snickering, right? And I made up that they were making fun of me, that they didn't like me, they thought that I was weird or something. I mean, I spun all kinds of stories in my little 8-year-old brain. I was like, what? And I liked him so much. It was really confusing. So it wasn't until many years later, after high school, we'd gone through high school together, and I was coming home from a visit. I was in college, and I came back for like a holiday visit with my family. And he and I we had stayed in touch over the years. We met for lunch, and he shared with me, he's like, oh my gosh, I was so afraid of you in 4th grade. I thought you were so smart. You were the smartest girl. And I had a crush on you. And I was like, what? No way. I was like, I had the story so wrong. So what's the moral of this, right? Is that we make things up all the time. We are great at this. So the cool thing about that, you don't have to torture yourself like my little 8-year-old self did, but you and I have been improvising our entire lives. From the time we wake up in the morning to the time we lay our head to rest, there is no script. There is no stage directions. It's not like, oh, Julie yawns and stretches and reaches for her water. No, none of that's there. There's no net. We don't know what we're going to do. None of that. We make all of it up. So congratulations. You have been an improviser much longer than you may have realized. Now, granted, you're not necessarily consciously improvising, right? You're not consciously making up these stories or scenarios or dialogues or reactions, right? But you have been doing it nonetheless. Like my little, 8-year-old self, she was really good at making stories up. So the focus of this work, conscious improv, is to purposefully flex the muscle of our active imagination so that we can begin telling the stories that work for us and create the kind of world that we want to see and we want to play in. Since we make stories up anyway, why not make up ones that work for us? The awareness around these stories does not just work for me and Lisa. It works for all kinds of people. Check out my buddy, Matt. He was caught in what I would call the Eeyore complex. My brother suffers a bit from this as well, but at least my brother's hip to it now. He's aware, he's onto himself. But this guy, he was part of this entrepreneurial group that I was a member of a few years back, and he kept coming into the group a little down. He'd always kind of wait and share last if there was time. He wasn't really creating the results in his business that he wanted, that we all knew that he was capable of. So one time I offered him some perspective on what I was noticing about his behavior, especially when this pattern showed up again. And I was like, my experience is that you seem to be scripted. Like you really got this, it's well rehearsed. And he was taken aback by what I said. He's like, what do you mean? That it didn't make sense to him because I mean he couldn't see what he was doing, and to have somebody actually honestly, care enough about him to tell him the truth, what we were all thinking. You're on this hamster wheel and you've been here for a while, my friend. We love you. So later I went into more detail. We chatted on the side, and I was like, it kind of reminds me of the character Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh stories, right? There's all these characters in the 100-Acre Wood, and they have different personalities. And Eeyore is this kind of gray donkey, and he's a little sad, and he doesn't get out much. And he's like, "Oh, well, thanks for noticing me." And that was the energy that Matt had, like I was feeling that. I'm like, where the other characters in the 100-Acre Wood, you had like Tigger. I'm like Tigger, right? Oh, wonderful. I'm bouncy. I'm so much energy, but there's Piglet, who's very anxious and like, oh no, oh Pooh, what are we going to do? Rabbit is very fastidious and works a lot. And, so everybody has a kind of their own personality style. So with this guy, this kind of down Eeyore, it for me shows up a little like a victim. Like he's a victim to his outside world. And I mean, not that that's bad. It's definitely a script. It's in a lot of movies. It's in a lot of TV shows. Like it's in a lot of books that you'll read. Like the victim is a character that we all know, but and that's all that's available to Eeyore. That's really all he can. It would be out of character if Eeyore played like Tigger. So this guy finally, he got it. And I see him and you and me and everyone as these conscious actors. You're the actor, you're not the character, right? Like, so you can choose what character you want to play. You are not stuck in the same old stories. You don't have to limit yourself to just, the ho-hum or just the, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. We don't all have to be up all the time anyway. Does that make sense? Like the key is awareness. That is why we're here practicing conscious improv. And the cool part about Matt is that he totally got it. And the next time we saw him, he was like first or second, and he shifted the results in his business. And he told, like, it was awesome. It was just a choice and just getting aware of what are the stories that we're telling. So you might be thinking, okay, great, Julie, that's great for Lisa, who's an educator, and Matt, who's this entrepreneur, but will it work for me? That's my challenge to you. Try it on. It's improv. Picture yourself in a scene of your life. Imagine that your life is a movie in a world where, fill in your name here, Julie is going through her day and she experiences something unexpected. No, say it doesn't happen. It can never happen out of routine. Life's on us, right? Things are going to happen that are unexpected. And it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond to what happens. So the next time you catch yourself in one of these scenes of your life, right, you might ask yourself, what character would I like to play here? So with my improv students, I might say it like this. How can we yes and this moment, this situation, this circumstance? How can we accept what is without resisting it? Be like, okay, cool, this has happened. Yes. And we bring our own fun or our own twist to the play. We bring the fun. Like I say, follow your fun. Play the character you want to play in your life, and both on stage and off stage. And it can be easy, that easy. So you know how to do this. You have been doing this your whole life. You didn't have a script when you woke up this morning, and magically you made it through the entire day saying lines to all the characters that you met, all the characters you came across in your movie. You had things to say and you had it happen. Improv is not hard. You can and already are great at making things up. So now let's make up things that are great. Secret number 2 is that you are enough. We all have a body, a voice, and an imagination. Wherever we go, there we are. We have all the tools that we need to succeed. So for me, in my active imagination, I have an entire panel of characters, right? Kind of like the 100-Acre Wood. They all live up there in my brain. And I imagine most of you do too. I call these filters, right? They're kind of like the apps on our phones. You know, if we, or at least on the camera ones, right? Like this here shows an image of this guy, or I assume it's a guy, but there you've had a scene and that you can look at it one way, or you can look at it through this other lens and it kind of accents different features. Now with like Snapchat and stuff, you can like balloon out your eyes and make your mouth all weird, right? So we can change the filters on our camera. Well, we can also change the filters in our minds. So some in particular that sound a little judgy, like someone that's trying to criticize you or edit you and keep you, you know, ultimately they're designed to keep you safe. I'm going to share one of mine with you. There's a fear that you're going to, oh no, what happens if you take a risk? You could do something wrong. You could mess something up. No. So I have a really prevalent one in my mind. She's my Jewish mother. She says, Julie, oh, are you sure you should do that? You're not going to wear that, are you? You go out, what will people think? What would they say? You don't want to disgrace yourself, or God forbid me, your mother, right? Okay, obviously I'm not Jewish, but I have been around the Jewish community for a long time. I was part of the Arizona Jewish Theater Company. I used to teach at the Jewish day camps and the Shemesh camps and JCC. And my dojo that I trained at was an Orthodox Jewish dojo. And I used to facilitate the education for the shul on their high holy days and stuff. So I've had a fair amount of exposure to my Jewish brothers and sisters, and I'm super grateful to them. It's super fun for me. So this Jewish mother, she's just one of my guilty filters. And I use that guilty, to should all over myself. And sometimes I shouldn't on myself, right? Like I have this list of behaviors and actions in the database of my mind that I should be doing this if I wanted to succeed. Oh, I was supposed to be doing that. Why? I should really get on that project. I really should finish that thing. And I also have some shouldn'ts too, right? I shouldn't do this if I want to fit in. I shouldn't do that if I want to be accepted, right? Or please other people, So when I can notice, again, it goes back to consciousness, being aware when the should filter has taken the microphone in my head, and I can tune in. I'll be like, oh, I'm starting my body. I feel a little tense. I feel like I'm short of breath. I'm sweating maybe, or I literally feel like I'm contracting, right? Like, so I know what it feels like when guilt comes in, or this judge or this critic, right? And I'm using my actor's instrument, which you always have with you. You are enough, your body, your voice, your imagination. I begin using, especially the body, as feedback to let me know when I am not in alignment with what I want, when I'm listening to a voice that doesn't serve what I want to be doing, right? That's not going down, like it would be really stressful for Eeyore to go on the same path that Tigger's going on. Like they're just not designed to do the same thing. So I just let that character step aside. So when my Jewish mother chimes in with all of her 2 cents worth and she gets kvetching about certain things and I become aware of it, I can interrupt and call scene and scene on her. Then I just pass the microphone to a different part of me, a character or a personality or a thought, right? I allow that part of me to enter the scene, then take the microphone from her and then begin to make decisions on my behalf that support where I want to go. Is this making sense? All right, one way that I like to give people, this is an exercise that you can take if you're a teacher, if you're an improviser that wants to start playing improv with your friends and family. This is a game that you can actually use and play with others, and there's a teaching component to it. So this is a visceral experience of what I'm talking about, where you're literally taking away one microphone and putting in another one, or removing one filter and putting another one in. And the exercise is called rant, rave. So with this one, complaining comes easy for some of us, maybe some more than others. Like my Jewish mother character, she's very complaining. If she has to wait online for more than 2 minutes for her deli meat, oh, boy. Anyway, so you might not be someone who complains a lot. So you might have to go into your memory of seeing somebody that's complained, or hearing someone outside. You might be brilliant at complaining, and this will not be challenging for you at all. But, so we're gonna start this exercise. Typically, I would get like 4 or 5, all the way up to like 8 to 10 actors, but we're just gonna say 4 for right now. And I get them to line up. Now, these actors become kind of instruments in my orchestra, and we're going to play a song together. And we would get a big topic. So a big topic might be something like the holidays, right? And within that big topic or theme, each of my actors is going to be complaining about a different subtopic. So for example, in the holidays, I might give one of my actors the in-laws. I might give another actor traffic. I might give another actor superficial gift giving, and yet another one would get overcrowded stores, right? Okay, so each one of my actors, that's kind of what they're going to be complaining about. So that's their channel or their instrument. Okay, so I would come down in front of them and conduct them. I'm looking at them, they're looking at the audience, and kind of sitting down. And then I would point, and as I pointed at each actor, they would just complain about the thing that their topic was. So I've got the in-laws, I've got traffic, I've got superficial gift giving, and I've got overcrowding in stores. Fantastic. Now, as I point to the one, well, my in-laws are visiting, and every time they stay, it's like the hot water is gone by the time I go to shower. It's really, they're so loud, he snores, whatever it is, right? You just find things to complain about. You're making it all up. But I'm sure you can find something. Same thing with traffic. Oh, traffic. Are you kidding? I just might as well just sleep in my car because it's like a parking lot. Or the superficial gift giving. Oh my gosh, people are so like, why? They don't even like that person. Why are they buying them gifts? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, and on and on and on. So they would all complain. Maybe I would have some of them, maybe I'm pointing at all 4 of them at the same time. So they're literally all going at the same time, like in music, right? We have all the instruments playing at the same time. It gets loud. You can have them go louder, and you can have them get softer and get really, really, really mad, but they're soft. And scene. You'll just call the end of it. You'll know when to call the end of it. It can go on for 30 seconds. You can complain for 3 minutes if you want to. So then we're going to take out the filter of complaining and everything that's wrong with the holidays, and we're going to put in the filter of celebrating what's right with the world. How can we see what's great about this? And guess what? The song is still the holidays. The theme is still the holidays. And the instrument they're playing, the topic that they're talking about is the same topic. So you've got the in-laws, and you have traffic, and you have superficial gift giving, and you have overcrowding in stores. Yay! So now, some of you might have been acting when we were complaining. Some of you might be acting now because you cannot possibly think of something positive to say about your in-laws. So this is where you may have to consider a different character and suit up like that mathematical character, right? Who would be able to find something to celebrate about the in-laws and put that filter in. All right, so you do not have to believe what you are about to say or what your team is about to say. They don't have to believe it, but you are going to go for it. And so it could sound something like this, right? My in-laws, oh my goodness, I'm so happy I get to see them twice a year, and I always feel so appreciative that we get to spend time together as a family, and that my spouse gets to see their, and everything's so great. It's just great to have us all together, whatever. So then maybe your traffic is, oh, I love being in traffic. It's the only time I can listen to my favorite podcast. Oh my goodness, it's so great. Or superficial gift giving. Oh, it's really great to be able to do like white elephant gifts where you're not really having to spend a lot of money, but you're just able to connect with the people. It's so great. So find a way, just find a way to see it from a different perspective. I've done this exercise with several audiences, and people have experienced significant shifts from this, and it's their experience. They own it. So what if we could tell the story of our lives from a different point of view? Like, think about a car accident, right? If I'm behind someone and somebody in front of me was in an accident, I'm going to see what I saw from my perspective. But it's not the whole story. So we need the other people that were maybe coming from the opposite angle, like perpendicular instead of right in the same line, right? We need their perspective, and we need the people that were across the street and directly able to see, right? So everyone in improv, we celebrate all of us. We need all of us to tell the whole story, right? Your perspective, you are enough. I am enough. Your point of view matters. My point of view matters. And that stage is big enough to handle all of the varying points of view. So we can decide what stories we tell ourselves, the world. We just need to become aware. What is the story that you are currently telling? What are you publishing about your life? People say, it might be on this, I'm like, well, Julie, I'm not really an educator, so I'm not really going to use these. Fine, don't be an educator, but we are all teaching constantly. You are publishing something about you in the world all the time. People are looking at you, and you are advertising. You are a walking advertisement for something. Is it joy? Is it misery? Is it boredom? Is it creativity? What are you teaching the world? We teach through the clarity of our example. Who are you being in and for the world right now? So we have to become aware. What are the stories that we're telling? And if they don't serve us, like if I have a judge or an editor in there, like my Jewish mother, maybe I just take the microphone away from her. I'll fire her. She's not on this set right now, right? She's trying to tell me I'm not good enough. I can't use improv. I wouldn't be able to be creative in how I applied this. I can't play improv. Oh, you're not smart enough to come up with ideas quickly or on the cuff or in the moment. No, whoever that is, you're definitely not funny. Well, you know what? Life is funny. You do not have to try to be funny in improv. It is a common misbelief that improv has to be funny. Improv is it just is. It is this moment. It's accepting this present moment, saying yes and to life, to this moment, to your scene partner, to whatever is right here. Funny is just going to happen. Funny happens through circumstances. It happens through situations. Oftentimes we laugh because there's been so much tension that builds, and then somebody will say something or do something, and we will laugh because we want to relieve all that tension. So sometimes we laugh at others' shortcomings or their embarrassing moments because it's not happening to us and we can relate. We're like, oh man, I've been there. In improv, sometimes we'll say, this is a bonus. Sometimes we say it's a race to the bottom, right? Like, so whoever can lose the scene the fastest will ultimately win the affection of the audience. We care about the underdog more than we care about people that are in high status and seem like they've got it all together. Right? It's so interesting. We can relate to people who have suffered. Right? It's like, oh, I can feel you, man. I feel you. Anyway, you are enough. You are enough. I am enough. You are brilliant. As my teacher and mentor, Sharna Halpern from IO Chicago has said, you're geniuses, you're artists, you're poets. We usually don't give ourselves credit for how enough we actually are. So you are enough. You have all the tools that you need to succeed. You can play all the characters that you want. You have your body, your voice, your imagination. Wherever you go, there you are, and you are enough. The third secret for tonight is I've got your back. This is a principle in improv that helps us play well together. We know in an improv community, I can literally go anywhere in the world and play improv with people who are trained in improv because we have this as a common belief. Einstein said it best. I'm going to probably butcher or misquote him. Luckily, he's not here to get mad at me. Oh, hey, see, do you hear that voice? There she is. That's that approval seeker. I love her. She's great. But yeah, so Einstein told us that we either believe that the universe is a friendly place or that it's not, and we live accordingly. So in improv, we got your back. We're assuming that you are going to get our back, right? Like that is like a motto, a principle that we come from. And it helps us to find like-minded people to play with, right? Especially using social media and technology. We have a time and place right now, like with the ability to connect all over the world, when we can find all kinds of people to play with. I saw evidence of this recently when I toured the country. I was looking for help developing a game of improv, a card game that I made, and I wanted I had so many people that had my back that many of them I never even met before. So I had these pop-up game nights all over the US, 30 different cities I went to, met over 400 people, and they were people from all walks of life. There were entrepreneurs, there were realtors, uh, there were people that were actually improvisers. There were students. We had this little like unschooling program. Like there were people that I had no idea. And I just put it out there on Facebook and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. And so many people yes-anded me and had my back. I mean, now granted, I also am a part of a lot of groups. I do have a lot of relational capital, I will say. Like I've been a part of my, high school groups, leadership groups, colleges, all the education programs I've been a part of. I've been a part of my Rotary, my Chamber of Commerce, BNI networking groups. Like I am very connected. So I have the ability to have other people help work and network on my behalf. But it is easy, and we got your back. So when you go to do this, when you go to share improv with people, or find that your tribe to play with, we can definitely support you in doing this. The power of networking is really, really amazing, just to leverage not only who you know, but who they know as well. So I want to introduce you to Robin. She is a recent friend of mine. She studied with she's a performer, right? She's a performer of improv, been studying improv and performing for 4 years now with a former student and colleague of mine that I used to perform with. And she has been reaching out to start offering improv. She wants to start teaching, right? So she has this idea to do mindful improv. And I was like, how appropriate. A mutual friend of ours had a space that this woman had gone and looked at the space to start offering classes. And this woman was also friends with me, so she connected us. And then we had some deep lunches together, philosophical, talking about this mindful, conscious improv idea. And within a couple weeks, we had a class scheduled, and she and I co-facilitated her very first class. So she was someone who is a performer turned educator because she said so. It was awesome. And now since then, she's come to another group that I facilitated with like 40 or 50 people at this meditation group. And someone in that group wants to start a home improv team, and it's in Robin's neighborhood. I travel all over the United States, so I'm not able to be there every week, and this person was looking for consistent classes, so it can happen just that fast. Robin, within a month or two of us meeting and working, she's already got 2 regular classes scheduled with improv. It's really amazing. So you might not have the social capital right now, like I mentioned, but you're wanting to either play improv or you're wanting to teach improv, but you can get connected, with our merry band of conscious improvisers. And we're able to connect you with people that you want to share your skills of play with, basically. We are, like I said earlier, with all of these social media, with Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and Pinterest and Snapchat and all these, there's so many out there, like meetup groups. There's so many ways for you to get connected. We have got your back. So finding like-minded people to improvise with is easy, and you can use social media technology to find your ideal players. It is so simple. We can promote your improv classes and workshops to your audiences where you can actually get paid to teach people how to play. Does life get any better? So let's see. Do you think that this would work for you? How many of you are excited about what I've been sharing tonight? All right, I'm going to ask a question. Let's say you follow what I share about how you've already been improvising your whole life and you're actually way better at it than you thought. And if you chose to live your life knowing that you are enough, and then you come from this trusting that you've got others' backs and they've got yours, then you attract these like-minded people to play and consciously apply improv in your life. Do you think you could be successful, whatever you're up to? My goal is to give you freedom to choose, confidence, and personal power that comes through awareness, to give you freedom of choice for a happy life, and for those that you serve, have them be happy too, to choose vitality and play in your presentations and your classes. So is it okay if I take the next 10 minutes going over a very special offer that I created to help you implement the benefits of improv in your life? To help you explore conscious improv, and how to share with others, I have created an online course, and I'm so excited about it. You will get, with this course, instant access to my video masterclass demonstrating the top 10 improv games that I use for educators. So this is all of the games that I currently use with corporate trainings, with community groups. In this course, we will explore my absolute favorite practice for getting present. We will dive into easy warm-up exercises, icebreakers that you can do with any group. You can go into specific games, right? We delve into how to play and tee up specific games that I use for team building, for developing active listening, for making quick decisions and shifting on a dime, and so much more. Oh, I want to introduce you to Tyson. Tyson is he's a friend of mine that I met through a networking group, actually. He is the regional director for Toastmasters in the Midwest. Now, he was a newbie to improv, had never done improv before, was part of Toastmasters because he wanted to get better at public speaking, and that's a national organization that does that, but it's not with groups, it's just you up there talking by yourself. I'm a big fan. If anybody wants to check them out, definitely do. So he was able to collaborate with me and bring improv in to all of his local chapter leaders in the region in the Southwest. And so we were able to play some of these games that are part of Improv for Educators with his leaders. And they had so much fun. They were able to get out of their comfort zone, get to know each other better. They hadn't really interacted or seen each other in this kind of playful way before. They'd always been very serious, and there's a lot of things to accomplish here. Anyway, they had success right away with these games, and they felt better. They had a great mood, and now they have new ways that they can spice up their regular meetings with the people that they're serving. And then there's Frances. Frances is a friend of mine and a longtime student, probably since 2007. I've been working and teaching with Frances. She loved performing. Frances was a performer, and we had both trained together down in Miami when IO Chicago came and did a 1-week intensive down there a few years back. And now, so she was performing, and now she has finally embraced teaching and sharing and leading improv exercises for others in really, really creative ways. She now volunteers with a state-run New Jersey organization that uses role-playing and improv to educate consumers on various mental health issues and social concerns. They've also branched out, and they're working with legal community, law enforcement officers, and other business professionals. It's really amazing. I'm so proud of her. Ron is another great example of improv in action. So Ron was already a speaker. He was already a presenter. He leads workshops on yoga rati, which is with preschool aged kids taking yoga and karate to help them with classroom discipline and focus. So he and I met at a chiropractor's office that I used to be a massage therapist with back in Jersey. I was there just visiting the front office. He was there getting treated, and he heard me sharing with the woman there about what I was up to using improv in transformational ways. And he's like, hey, we had a conversation, and it turns out he had just started taking improv at a local theater in his area and was super excited to learn more about how to use it in transformational ways. And then it turns out we also trained at the same dojo. He was just there 5 years earlier than me. And I was working on a project down in Florida at the time with a gentleman who was getting involved with schools through the Red Ribbon movement and things like that. And he was looking for trainers to work in his organization. He had this black belt, in training kind of offering going on, that I was coming in and bringing improv to his trainers. So Ron came down, got trained in this friend's system where I was giving improv. And one of the games is in Improv for Educators that Ron uses now in almost every one of his workshops that he does at trade shows or breakout sessions. So he's able to monetize improv in combination with his yoga ratis in a really creative and fun way. It's super exciting. He's a keynote speaker all over the US, up to very fun things. And probably one of my favorite stories is Anthony. Anthony and I used to perform together in a South Florida team or troupe. It's probably about 7 years ago or so. And Anthony, after coming to one of my very first pilots of Improv for Educators, he has since gone on to start local classes in his area, building up to a theater. He opened his own theater. They've been on improv cruises, and now he has empowered his students to take over his theater while he goes and tours the United States doing his one-man musical improv show called Ant Farm. I mean, he's really amazing what's possible. This was a guy who was already a performer but hadn't stepped into teaching yet. So exciting to see what's possible. So I do want to go back and make sure that you realize who this is for. It's for people just starting out, like our beginners and dabblers like Tyson, right? It's for current performers of acting or improv like Francis or Anthony or Robin. And it's also for our educators, our facilitators, our teachers looking to add spice and fun and amp up their current courses that serve their audiences through joy, like Lisa and Ron, right? So a big reason, as we mentioned earlier, that people will avoid or keep you from taking an improv class is fear. It's that fear of public speaking. You know, Seinfeld lets us know that public speaking is the number one fear. So it's like people would rather be in the casket at a funeral than the one delivering the eulogy. So maybe fear is the thing for you. Maybe you're afraid of looking foolish or doing it wrong or not being good at it. With this program, you have the freedom to practice in the comfort of your own home, in your own space, in your own time. Now, I do recommend that you find people to play with, and again, we can help you with that. But it is great to practice with others. It's a different energy than just doing it by yourself. But again, you can do it in your own time, just with the people that you trust to be silly with, to play with, and explore. So when you sign up, you'll have instant access to our Improv for Educators video masterclass. The value of this is $997. It includes 13 different video modules with my top 10 improv games for educators, facilitators, and my most commonly used exercises that I'm currently using and getting paid in corporate and group trainings. As part of this package, you're also going to get a full transcript of each exercise included in the reflections and questions for yourself and your participants. This is a tool that will help you apply, utilize, and even monetize the facilitation of improv. So when you have this tool, you'll be able to literally lead your own improv class, earning money while you share the joy of play with your audiences, teams, and coworkers. When I first started out, oh my goodness, I loved improv and I knew that I loved it. I loved to laugh, I loved to play, I loved creating with other people, but I didn't know how to share it. I couldn't remember the games and the exercises that the teachers used. I would forget how they described it. You know, they were able to make it so easy to guide us through the experiences. So I just figure all that stuff out on my own. Over time, I did it wrong a lot. I looked like a novice a bunch, publicly failing, floundering while I was teaching classes. I started in my late teens and 20s. So I'm teaching people literally twice my age, 3 times my age, as I'm working in like church groups or senior care centers. I mean, you name it, anybody that would have me, I was like, let me teach. So I spent like 20 years, you know, and like I mentioned, I mean, 2 degrees later, plus my train the trainer and graduate, you know, studies over $200,000 ultimately that I have invested in educational psychology and how do I figure out how to say this and the learning styles and all these things. I tried it out through trial and error with hundreds of different people, and I'm just going to give you all that stuff. I'm just combining and integrating all of that for you, and I'm just giving it to you as part of the package. So you'll get the Improv for Educators video masterclass that's valued at $997. The transcripts of the curriculum workbook and all of the questions, plus accountability, because you might be thinking, oh, Julie, I'm not going to actually use that. Like, it's a nice idea, but we will hold you as accountable as you would like to be held. And that is $597. The total value so far is $1,594. And when you invest today, you are going to also get access to 3 months of weekly emails where I share my favorite resources to amp up your improbability. And these are like new games that I come across, or different exercises, journal prompts that you might use, or questions for some of your audiences or your students. There are maybe quotes from my favorite improv people, insights, things that are coming out to keep you up to date on all of the trends in improv. Now, I go through like hours of this stuff, so you guys don't have to do this. I'm going to find the best and just give you the ones that I think will really, really support you in what you're up to and what you want to create specifically. And that's just included as a special bonus. So this is going to make it easier. It'll make it faster for you to infuse more improv into your life, into your presentations if you're already giving them, into your performances if you're a musician or an actor and you're wanting to be more spontaneous like I was when I was touring, into your play, into your business, because it breaks improv into these simple bite-sized pieces, right? You can just share a little quick, learning moment, a teaching tip, you're like 30 seconds or less. How do we do this? You may be like me though. You may be like, well, Julie, Lord knows I don't need another email. I lose lots of things in emails as well. So again, we're going to have some support in place for you so that you can make sure to see the things that they get across your desk, or they make it to your eyes. So hey, this thing is going to be really great. We'll make sure you get to it. We got your back. You know how we do. So we have the Improv for Educators video masterclass. We have the transcripts, the curriculum workbook, including accountability. We've got your improv resource highlights, 3 months of weekly emails, and that value is $197, making the grand total $1,791. And also, with your investment today, you will get access to my judge and champion templates, which will help you identify those internal voices in your head that will either keep you from what you want, or they'll help you get what you want in your improv path. And again, these come from the dozens of self-help books that I've read, and the transformational trainings and human psychology and mindset studies that I've done, performed, and presented to literally thousands of people all over, that help people become more aware and manage and really optimize the voices in your head, right? They're not bad. Just when do we use them? So I'm happily sharing my shortcuts with you so that you don't have to do all that. It is my pleasure to include them here as a special bonus. And again, they'll make it faster, easier for you to catch yourself. You're going to train that muscle, that flex that improv imagination muscle, so that you can catch those voices and put them to good use. Replace the ones that don't serve you with the ones that do. And one of the most common mistakes that we make is whenever we take on a new thing, right? It's, will I actually create a habit? When I have this new idea, it's a skill, right? But I know what to do, but I don't do it, right? And again, we've got your back. We are growing our community of conscious improvisers worldwide, and you are going to have access to the whole tribe, and we will be encouraging each other all along the path. So all together, we've got our Improv for Educators video masterclass. We've got the transcriptions with the facilitator's workbook. We have 3 months of email access featuring your improv resource highlights and our judge and champion templates. And another huge benefit that you will get, and probably one of my favorites, is access to our Improv for Educators Conscious Improv Facebook group. This is where you will stay connected to your tribe. On task, you'll be sharing your progress, your successes, your failures, aka your variations, right? Fail fast, fail hard, fail often. And also where I will be sharing how-to videos, like how to organize your first meetup group or your first class, links to local, national, international improv festivals and events that are in your area, my weekly lives that'll be taking your questions, anything that you're currently dealing with as you're creating your offering and how you want to incorporate it into your world. This is also where you are going to be encouraged to share your videos, your personal successes, or the successes of your students. Like, let's see how they're doing, right? Maybe you capture some video of them actually doing some of the games or exercises. It's just all designed for us to support each other in incorporating more improv into our lives. And this package, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. So let's say Let's say if all this did was just give you that rock solid feeling of confidence, right, that Lisa had when she zipped into that mathematical character suit. Anytime you speak in public, you know, you have the knowingness, like riding a bike, that you are good. Would that be worth $1,888? Now, obviously, I'm not going to charge you almost $2,000 for this, but if I did charge you $1,888 and all it did was give you access to a feeling of unshakable confidence, would it be worth it? Or if all it did was to give you the ability to consistently play and find more joy in your life, what would joy be worth to you? Would it be $1,888? If all it did was give you the awareness of your own internal voices, those ones that judge you and limit you, and the ones that propel you into your personal power and highlight your ability to choose effective thoughts and move you towards the life that you want. That ability to choose, would that be worth $1,888? Or let's say all it did was connect you with a group of like-minded individuals all over the world that are committed to creating a world connecting through play, where we're including groups of people that will actually pay you to facilitate improv workshops with them. Would that be worth $1,888? Well, I had choices. I had two choices. I could either go as cheap as I could possibly handle and move as many of these as possible. And the problem with that is that I couldn't really stack on the value for you, where I wouldn't be able to make sure that you are going to succeed. And that's why I went with the second option, which obviously requires a slightly higher investment on your end. But in exchange for that, I am able to dedicate my time, my energy, my resources to help guarantee your individual success. So what would the end result be worth? Let's do some figuring here. Let's get into our active creative imaginations. If you had the confidence to walk into literally any room and speak spontaneously, authentically from your heart, without fear of judgment or ridicule or looking foolish, knowing that you cannot get it wrong, what would that be worth to you? Or if you catch yourself in the moment that limiting thoughts comes in, oh, Julie, that limiting thought enters your mind and you choose again, one that helps you and encourages you to succeed. How much would you pay for leading successful workshops and classes where people are literally paying you to play? You can probably see why people pay easily close to $2,000 for similar results from me when I go out and offer these courses. But it's not a cost to them, it's an investment. And you've actually easily seen likely how it's already worth $1,888. And you're not going to pay that. Even at $997, which is what I charge the public, if you go to my website, that's what you'll see. It's still a great deal. And because you are here with me on this webinar and you've already invested your time and you're truly wanting to use improv to impact your life and the lives of those around you, I am going to give you a very special offer. Drum roll, please. $297. It's only $297. And again, for that, you're going to get the Improv for Educators video masterclass, the transcribed curriculum workbook, 3 months of improv resource highlights, our judge and champion templates, and access to our Facebook community group for life. And the investment, again, only $297. So you can go now to sign up. It's improvforeducators.com/now. I think we're going to have that open for the next 15 minutes. Again, it's improvforeducators.com/now. So if you were going to go through the training like I did to become a professional improv actor and educator, it might cost you, as it did me, well over $50,000. I paid $200,000. Maybe you could find a shortcut. But because you're going to learn to do it on your own, and I'm giving you all the tools and resources that you need to make it happen fast, you're only going to pay $297. So now, at this point, you have two choices. You can do nothing, which if you do nothing with the information that we learned tonight over the last hour, what will you get? Nothing. Or you can choose to take a leap of faith and just test it out. See if it'll work for you. I mean, it's okay if it doesn't, because we've got you covered. Again, we got your back. under our 14-day guarantee. So you can test drive it now, see if conscious improv will really, really work for you and for the people that you care about. Will it make you feel more confident, joyful, aware, and able to share all of that confidence, joy, and awareness with other people? And if not, you have nothing to lose. So the real question is it worth the few minutes of your time to go check this out? Even if it only did half of what I say it's going to do, it'll more than pay for itself as soon as you feel better speaking in public, or catch yourself slipping into those negative judgments of yourself or others, or lead your first paid improv class. I mean, literally 10 students for $10. Well, I have to do the math. 20 students, 30 students, I have to do a little math. You can charge whatever you want, but you can make back your investment. So we also, for those of you who $297 is not available today, we do have 3 easy payments of $108 a month. And in that, you're going to get Improv for Educators, the video masterclass, the transcription of the facilitator's workbook, 3 months of emails featuring the improv resource highlights. You're getting your judge and champion templates. You're getting the Improv for Educators Conscious Improv Facebook group community for life. Total value of $1,888. Again, today's investment, one-time investment, is $297, and you can spread that out into 3 easy monthly payments of $108. And something I'm super excited about, for our first 5 people to sign up today during the webinar, I will also be including a free 30-minute private coaching consultation call where we will focus on you. What are you up to? What are your biggest roadblocks or hangups? And I will bring my entire arsenal of acting and improv and transformation and healing tools to help you move through them. My private coaching usually starts at $1,000 a month, so I have only opened up a few slots in the next week in my calendar. So those who are really serious about jumpstarting improv in their life will be able to do that with me one-on-one. Again, we have a payment option available, those 3 easy payments of $108. You're going to go now to improvforeducators.com/now and join our conscious improv movement and start playing your life on purpose and sharing that play with others. We will have registration open for the next 15 minutes. And I want to thank everyone who joined me tonight and share the joy of conscious improv with you in this You Can Improv Your Life webinar to support you in having confidence. Have the confidence of a pro improv actor without having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and dozens of years of your life. Thank you so much, and I look forward to playing with you soon. So long, friends.